Light the beam, because it's time for Nerdy for 30, the podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish things for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer, a.k.a. the Critic's Choice. With me, as always, the People's Champ, Tim Keck.
If you feel it, chase it.
If you feel it, chase it. And today, we are back again with an Oops All Scruples episode. You demanded it. You're loving the Scruples. We're loving the Scruples. So we're digging deep into the Scruples well today. Tim, do you want to give the listeners another quick recap of what Scruples is for our new listeners?
Yes. In order to get the most out of this and for us to not look like complete assholes, I have to explain what this is. I bought this board game, thrifting. It's called The Question of Scruples, the game of moral dilemmas, and it's a Hasbro game from 1999. Keep that in mind. These are
26 years old.
Moral dilemmas from 26 years ago.
It's old enough to be dishonorably discharged from
yeah,
the military.
So we get, let's see. I'm trying to find one that is like a good example of this, the 1999 part, but we will get there. Okay. Do you, Kevin, want to start us off with the Scruple? I'm just going to grab, we'll just pull a random one out and we'll see how it goes.
All right, here we go. You're engaged to be married.
Yes.
Your spouse-to-be demands that you no longer see a former lover who is now a friend. Do you end your friendship with your ex-lover?
This is such a good... I don't know why this is really a moral dilemma. No, yeah, you end it. Yeah, you end it. You don't keep hanging out with them. You're not that good of friends.
This does relate to something you've expressed on the pod before, which is no matter how good of friends you think you are with someone, you're not that good.
Listen, you are a move away from not being in that person's life ever again. You know, like, I don't know, as much as, you know, we have the pod to keep us together.
Yeah.
But, you know, we end the pod. You move to Ohio. I move back to Florida. I'm living on a boat. My reception's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, we just drift apart. And then 10 years from now, it's like, hey, just give Kevin a call.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then we reconnect. And
yeah. But I don't know if my partner at the time would be upset if we reconnected after 10 years.
Right.
Whereas I know that a girlfriend would be upset if I was like, hey, you know, I haven't called in a long time. The girl I lost my virginity to. Wonder how she's doing. Oh, recently divorced. I should check in.
This feels exactly like the kind of thing that plagues people on shows like Love is Blind.
Right.
This is the exact kind of thing that like their lives are based around finding the answer to this question.
This is a very prevalent, it's shocking how relevant this question is still, because
really
this is, you're right, this is every Love is Blind. Somehow this is an issue.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, in that case, it's just because people are trying to get on reality TV. Like, if you're in one of the social circles where everybody's trying to get on reality TV in the first place, like, if you've self-selected to be the kind of person that's on Love is Blind, you're trying to get on TV. There's a good chance that you are surrounded by people who are also trying to get on TV. You know?
Yeah, I think that probably in a lot of those situations, the other woman is like their actual partner.
Sure. Yeah.
And they went on reality TV to pretend they're single and like, hey, this is a really good career opportunity for me. And they pretend to be dating these people, but like they're, you know, got relationships. I've definitely heard of this stuff before where it's like, I've got relationships. I heard a thing with one of the girls from Too Hot to Handle went on another show and was like basically married and like just went on there because it was a business opportunity. You know, she's an influencer. She's got to go on.
It's like an instant, you instantly get shot into the influencer territory. And some of these shows have like their own self-sustaining fan bases, but the fan bases are also so rabid for this that I don't understand how people think they can squeak shit past these fans where it's like, there's the guy from The Bachelorette a couple years ago where he fully had a girlfriend. He made it to like the final three.
Yeah.
He was there for his music career, obviously, kept finding ways to shoehorn this song in. And then it just turns out that he has a girlfriend the whole time. And it's like, how do you think the amount of shit the internet collectively has solved so many cold cases? You think you're going to be able to,
killer?
Yeah. I mean, and these people didn't even have, like, Ted Bundy didn't have social media. Like, you think you're going to be able to sneak a girlfriend that you have a relationship status with on Facebook past millions of Bachelorette fans? There's no way. They're undefeated. The stands are undefeated in all this shit. You cannot try to beat them.
Don't fight the stands.
Don't ever fight the stands. Never bet against Vegas and don't fight the stands.
The house always wins,
The
and the
house
house
always
is
wins.
full of stands. I do think with this too, it's like you no longer see a former lover who is now a friend.
Mhm.
It is interesting to me how, friendships change. You're not as close as you think you are. How you can date somebody and then you're not together, and now it's just like nothing. You
Just
don't
totally
feel
burned out.
just completely no sexual anything, no
Mhm.
romantic thing at all. You're like, ugh, why did even? I just remember how they used to chew with their mouth open. Like you're thinking about that more than you're thinking about, getting anything on. A former lover who is now a friend. If they're actually a friend, then they are not a threat, and your partner will be cool with it.
See, that's the thing is, it's like there's like all these, it just depends on the specifics of the situation because it's like if this was like a former partner and they'd been married for like 25 years and they hit a point where they're just sick of each other,
Right.
then I don't think there's any, like they've done every single variation of like trying to rekindle the spark possible at that point. It's just not happening. But if it's someone where they dated for like 2 weeks and then they broke up like like a notebook situation because
Yeah, they tried it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then they're friends for a few years. It's like, I don't find that threatening at all. Now, if
Yeah.
it is, it's a lover. So lover implies
that's the
like
thing.
passion.
And I feel like the thing with Love is Blind is always it's someone that they hooked up with at the bar. Like,
Yeah. No, that I don't know if I need that. The person that, between every relationship we hooked up, it's like, that's probably the person
that's a
where
little
I'm like, that's also one of those things where I'm like, they're not your friend.
Mhm.
They are keeping the seat warm.
Yeah.
They are making sure there's honey in the trap. Okay, another
What are you catching
question
in that trap with honey?
of Scruples. Bunnies?
Bunnies and honey?
Bears? Bears and honey?
Bears seem to love honey.
Do bees love honey or do they just make it?
I think they make it. It's it's what it's like food for their larvae.
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
There's a guy on Naked and Afraid who
Mhm.
like blanking on his name, but he's the conserve guy. He got a huge tattoo. If you're a fan of Naked and Afraid, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Kind of a crazy dude. And he's like the bee guy. He keeps bees. And on the show, multiple times they found beehives.
Oh my
And
God.
then he's the one who goes and gets the honey and he smokes them out
Sure.
and he agitates them. And so I guess with the smoke, it agitates the bees. They freak out. So what they do is they drink all of the honey. And then they get so full and bloated that they can't sting anymore.
Weird.
And he's
Oh
like,
my
that's
God.
why it's okay. Like that's why smoking out works. They drink all the honey and now they're bloated and they're incapable of stinging you now. This is what this crazy man on Naked and Afraid says. But I trust him because he was ass naked and had bees crawling all over him and was eating honey like Winnie the Pooh. So that's the kind of man you want in the trenches, by the way. You're naked and afraid. I don't want a prude. You want the dude ass naked covered in bees and honey.
This man has his eyes open to the realities of life in a way that the rest of us, it would be way too blindingly
Yeah.
bright. Like we're waiting for a natural disaster to force us into that level of existence. And he's just relishing it right now. He's chosen it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to dinner with that guy, but I would go to war with that guy. If the planet ends, I'm spending the time with him. If we're waking up tomorrow, sorry, I got plans. Okay, here's one. Your mate has a habit of impulse buying. A catalog arrives from a very expensive store. Do you quietly dispose of it? I don't even know what the modern day equivalent would be. You get an email, you're monitoring your partner's email,
Yeah.
and they receive an ad, a push notification from Bonobos.
Sure.
And you have to delete it from their phone.
It's Bonobos, so you get like a 5% off coupon.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten anything from a catalog ever?
Oh boy. I mean, probably not since 1999. The thrill of that, dude. I remember we used to get, I mean, I feel like this is before they were a luxury item when I was a kid, is we used to get Lego catalogs. Like it was either Lego catalogs would show up or Lego stuff would be in the back of a different catalog. And I remember a couple times being allowed to like pick a Lego set from the catalog and then having that show up. I mean, before online shopping and stuff, blew my mind as a kid.
Wow.
That I was able to like pick this thing. I feel like we used to like pick other magazines from that too, but I don't think it was ever anything extremely expensive. Are we talking like a car here?
A car?
I mean,
who buys a car from a catalog?
dude, I don't know. It says
Other
very
than
expensive.
everyone with a Tesla truck.
Is it-
Like, there's no reason. If someone bought a Tesla truck, they did not take that for a test drive, right?
No. You can't have. You literally can't have. They just bought it on spec. I mean, they
I think
didn't
it just
even know.
shows up.
It just got its crash safety rating. As of us recording this, it just got its crash safety rating like
That's a
week
bold
ago.
move.
To answer the question, it's their money. Like if your finances are separate, that's their choice to make. If your finances are combined and depending on what your financial situation is, what needs you have, what you're saving toward, how much of an impact it's going to be. I think it's a conversation before to throw away the magazine. But I also
You don't know what they're using it for.
yeah.
I mean, I used the Sears catalog just to see women in bras.
Right.
That was for. I wasn't buying them.
Sure.
The women were not for sale. And what do I need with an empty bra? You're right. Like, what is this? Is the matters if you have a joint bank account, which I also think today it's probably more common for people to have their own spending money,
I think so.
right?
Yeah.
And be like a little more financially literate.
Mhm.
But maybe I'm wrong about that. I mean, Caleb Hammer keeps having people on his show, and you'd think
Man.
after a certain point you'd be like, listen, just make a budget and stick to it would be enough. People would be able to figure it out. But it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a weird thing, man. Like people, for some reason, it means a lot to people, I think, to have like a combined bank account and stuff. And like, it seems to be something that has a higher significance to a lot of people. And I don't necessarily understand why, but it feels common enough that it's speaking to something for people.
I think that's fair. But I mean, I guess it is, maybe it's just a place of privilege of having enough disposable income where you can agree that you both have a certain amount of disposable income. But like once you're pinching pennies and you're like, listen, we're eating PB&J for dinner every night.
Yeah.
And that point, the Tesla catalog shows up.
Yeah.
I'm burning that thing.
You're burning it for warmth at that point.
For warmth. The power's been off. We're sitting in the dark. Sitting in the dark with our PB&Js.
They're not going to be able to read that catalog anyway.
We're not going to be able to charge our Tesla.
Oh boy. See, this is a pretty 1999 one.
Okay, good.
You and your spouse are both over 40 years old. You both want children. Do you try to have a baby even though it's a medical risk? I feel like this happens a lot now. I feel like there's better medical care. I know it's still riskier, but we talked about that in the previous podcast episode.
Too, where it's like, yeah, that one's pretty skippable, I guess. I don't know. I've also been doing a lot of like relationship ones, but
I think a lot of these are all either relationship or your kid found something questionable.
Yeah. Ugh. Your 8-year-old child is gifted and her teachers recommend she skip a grade. You allow it.
Yeah. What? Like 8 is young enough too. 8 skipping one grade, that doesn't matter that much developmentally, Like I feel like it's one of those things where like they're going to be able to catch up. If it's like an 8-year-old that skips, you always hear about in like, movies and stuff to try to express how smart someone is. They'll be like, oh, they graduated college at 13. And it's like,
right.
There's going to be some maturity gaps there.
Yeah. If someone tells me my 8-year-old, should be in high school right now, it's like, maybe not.
Yeah.
But maybe they should be learning addition maybe they should be reading paragraphs instead of sentences. Sure. I also have no concept for age and intelligence. Like I have no, like 8.
Boy, yeah.
I have no idea what an 8-year-old is capable of. Are they writing books? Are they reading them? Are they
should have at least their first novel published. But
yeah. If they published?
If they want to be something, yeah. I'll say this, if you're a parent, your 8-year-old hasn't published at least one novel yet, maybe think about going to a Kumon at least.
It's never too late to leave them at the fire station. That's what I always say.
That's true. Up to 18, you can leave that baby at a fire station or on a nun's doorstep.
The only reason we still have nuns. So do something with these damn babies. They recommend skipping a grade. I also do think I'm a May birthday, which is a little on the young side for the school year.
Yeah, same here.
Like I graduated on the last day of high school in Florida because it's like a little different than up here in New York now. And I think being on the younger side was like always a cool thing.
Yeah.
It just always felt cool. And whenever I'm in a group and there's like the youngest person, you kind of feel some like responsibility for them and take care of them, like the young Sheldon thing of like, who's this freak? It's like, if somebody skips one grade, you're going to feel some like, oh man, we got to watch out for them, or at least that was always kind of my instinct, as opposed to like, God, throw cans at them because
Sure.
they're a child, It's like they're 1 year younger. At that age, you're hanging out with all kinds of stuff. I mean, at 8, you're probably still hanging out with babies and stuff, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on your 8-year-old friend group. You're hanging out, I would say, primarily with other 8-year-olds. I don't know if it'd be babies. It's weird.
Yeah, you have a play date and it's like a 1-year-old, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an 8-year-old all just hanging out together.
That's
that
not
probably
gonna
happens.
That's not going to be good.
I don't know. Maybe.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Late one evening, your 19-year-old son/daughter asks permission for his or her date to stay. Do you give permission? 19-year-old.
To stay over.
Yeah.
See, this is one that I do feel weird about, staying over, but it is like once they are in college, like stuff's happening.
Oh, for sure.
Once they're out from under your roof, you're just, on some level, they're living their own lives. They are adults now. They can literally do anything they want. There's nothing to hold them accountable anymore. But then to have that under your roof, I understand why that would be really.
Yeah. Oh, it
really
would feel so weird, dude.
I would not do that in high school.
No. Well, it's 19. I don't know if this person's high school.
No, this is 19. But if it's like 16 and they're like, my girlfriend's staying over, I'm like,
no way.
No, I'm at least going to call their parents and be like, hey, this minor wants to stay at my house overnight.
Yeah.
Do you know where they are? Are you cool with this? Like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's a conversation. I'm not just like, oh yeah, whoever can stay over. That's fine. Yeah, I'm just going to keep children at my place at all hours. I don't know. That's weird.
It's a weird
strange thing. But 19, I can see myself as a dad being like, my angel just came back from the state school. She's back under my roof for the summer. Oh, this man's trying to take her away from me. And like, it's out of sight, out of mind. Like, I remember coming back from college and my folks would always, this is a problem when I was in high school, was like, my mom couldn't go to sleep if I wasn't home.
Oh, God.
So that really kept me from staying out too late.
Oh.
Just as like I'm not Catholic, but I have Catholic guilt. And the idea of my mom staying up worried about me was a little too much for me to spend too many nights out after midnight,
Sure.
Even though it is crazy that she couldn't do it. You could also just take a pill, Mom.
Do you know if that's true?
Medicate.
Or was this just said to guilt trip you?
It could have been either one. But there was just a very awake mom when I got home, whenever it was. So that was weird. Maybe it was both my parents. I don't know. I just don't remember. They would wake up. They would like come lock the door after me or something like that. I don't know. There was something where I was like, had to be watched. And any curfew I got was like, listen, we want to go to bed. So can you come in at 11? It was never like, you can't stay out this late.
Oh my God. That's so much guilt. That's
so
insane.
I was just guilted into it. And it worked on me because I'd like to think I'm a sweet baby boy who just, doesn't want to disappoint their parents. So I got guilted in with that. And when I went to college, it's like staying up all night, doing whatever, watching the sunrise,
You're bouncing back the other direction.
Night, and then you come home and all of a sudden it's like, hey, can you come home at 11 because we want to go to bed? And it's like, you guys can just go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do that. But I'm back under the roof. And now it's like you fall back into the same dynamics and the same thing. And now they don't care, but now I want to be in bed by 11. Yeah. Now I'm going to bed at like 10. So they're like, they don't have to worry about me at all. It's crazy. Once you get no curfew, that's when you're like 9 p.m. I got stuff to do tomorrow. I got a job. I don't know.
Time came for us. Time is as undefeated as Stance in Vegas.
Oh, wow. Oh, these are all kind of weird. I don't know if
this is a strange pile we got here.
This is a strange pile. I'm gonna like ditch this pile and just grab another little stack.
This one's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You are recently separated. Your children are visiting your estranged husband for the weekend. He has a new apartment and a new girlfriend. Do you pump
Ooh.
the kids for information when they return?
How old are the kids?
Doesn't say on the card. I'm going to say it's got to be like, they have to be young enough that they wouldn't pick up on the fact that it's weird for you to be
Right.
trying to get information. I'm picking like the kids, picture the kids from Mrs. Doubtfire. They're that old.
Okay. See, because I think the older kids there would pick up on that.
See, what was it? Jonathan Taylor Thomas, the main guy, or what's his name? He would have for sure.
Wasn't there an older sister too?
There, yeah.
Was
Oh,
like
yeah. There wasn't
a son, a daughter, and then like a baby, I thought.
Frankly, they were all old enough that they should not have been surprised that it was Robin Williams.
Yeah, they also probably didn't even need a nanny.
Probably, honestly, yeah, they were well past. Sally Field, though, seems like she was pretty uptight in that movie, so she was at a point where she's not leaving these kids in San Francisco alone.
Do you think there was any moment when Sally Field and Mrs. Doubtfire could have hooked up? Do you think there was any point when Miss Doubtfire was, oh, dearie, and she's like, rise.
There's something
safe about them. I think I can be myself.
It is funny because this would be a situation where there's someone who they say that a lot of your attraction to someone is actually like smell, like pheromones and things that you don't consciously think of. So Doubtfire would probably smell exactly like Robin Williams did.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine that, like, you know, she'd be picking up on that. She's racking her brain the whole time going like, why am I this
so
attracted to Doubtfire?
To this lumpy,
ravishing
woman.
Enchanting woman.
It's an enchanting woman.
Something about her drives me wild.
Sally Field questioning everything. Like, that was not a part of the movie.
No.
It was all about the kids and family and all that bullshit. It's like, it should have been about the sexual chemistry between Sally Fields and the Flubber King himself, Mrs. Doubtfire. Dude, I listened to some podcast the other day. Oh, it was like a ringer pod, and they were doing like a fantasy movie draft.
Okay.
And they were allowed to draft anyone from a movie to be on their basketball team.
Okay.
Basically. And they're all boring ass picks. Shay Serrano's on there. He picks Air Bud. I'm like, great. We're in the right ballpark.
Yeah.
He picks the android from Prometheus. You remember that scene where he's riding the bike and just shooting the thing? He's like, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, how did nobody pick Flubber? Flubber just to have on the team. Because it was like, either Flubber could probably be a good player, or just having, if you have Flubber as a GM, you can put a little Flubber on everybody's things.
Oh my God.
Flubber think about Airbud plus Flubber would be unstoppable.
Oh God.
Oh, the android with Flubber would be crazy.
Oh shit. Did you ever hear? So first and foremost, this is making me think. I haven't thought about Flubber in a long time. There's no way Flubber holds up. I loved Flubber when it came out, dude.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. I would be open to doing Flubber on the pod just for the experience of rewatching it.
It was important.
It was very important. It's a piece of lost media now, and I think we need to recover it. Second one is, did you hear that thing that was going around a few years ago where it was like, if you had to draft a basketball team of presidents, who would you draft and why?
Ooh.
And that's a fun one.
Abraham Lincoln at center.
Everybody always goes to Abe Lincoln center.
Well, you know, because everyone only knows 3 presidents.
That's the thing.
That's the thing, is like, you know, Obama's probably on the team.
It's a racist pick. Everyone's doing it.
But it's not a racist pick. He has a story about meeting Michelle's dad, and the dad made him play him in pickup.
Oh, well, that's
because
cool.
The dad was like, it was like a thing of like, the dad's like, you could figure out who a man is on the court. Like, it was him wanting to get to know her boyfriend.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Like, Obama loves basketball and like plays basketball. So yeah, man, you're the racist.
All right.
You're racist to assume that it's racist.
I'll check myself on that.
Yeah, please check yourself. Obama. And then I think George Washington has to be on the team, because I feel like I've heard some things about George Washington in real life. I mean, back then, people weren't as big, but he towered over the people there. I mean, there's stories about him being gigantic.
It's absurd thinking about how big he was at the time and all the stories you hear. I mean, there's the Shane Gillis bit about like him going to the George Washington Museum and talking about like a 6'3" monster man who was poisoned on mercury with wooden teeth,
Yeah.
charging through the forest to try to kill British people. And it's like, this is insane that this is the founding father that we've all like, all of this is structured on.
See, this, we just picture him on money. We picture an old man with a wig, but this guy was a bruiser. This was a guy you did not want to come home and see on your way home at night. This guy was messing people up. This is a dude you want on your team, and you're upset if he's wearing the other team's jersey. Like, you do not want to go up against George Washington. People had nightmares about George Washington, and that's the guy.
Can you imagine knowing he existed, knowing he was out there alive?
Yeah,
it would be like knowing the Terminator's out there.
Exactly.
We were talking about this a couple years ago, and we locked into it with like the bit we were doing is basically, we don't know what he sounded like. We didn't have microphones. So in the same lineage of Lincoln having an extremely silly voice in the movie Lincoln, for all we know, George Washington was just this giant guy, and he's out there talking like, it is the duty of all of us to do our best and make sure that we defeat the British people. And, this crazy, squeaky voiced monster just rampaging around.
Or what if he just talks really slow?
Oh God, just fully like,
today we gather here. And everyone was just like, God, fucking finish up, George. Like, everything's in text. So like, it's all written documentation. You're right. We have no idea how they sound.
Yeah.
They could have said it, or they could have talked really fast. Well, there should be so whatever. And just like,
it's like, oh shit, what the fuck?
And you're just like, man, I missed so much of George's thing.
I thought when you were talking about him talking slow, I thought you were talking about like, like intimidating, like action movie.
Yeah,
like when people
talks
are
like this. George, I can't think of a single George Washington quote
that's
right
the thing.
now.
I'm trying to pull up a Washington
get in this
speech.
canoe. We're gonna cross this water, and then we're gonna fuck you up. This is how I picture.
I swear to God, the minute I get across this lake and this fist contacts your mouth, the only thing you're gonna taste is blood and regret, pal.
I'm gonna cross this body of water. I'm gonna fuck you up, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm gonna get sworn in as the president of this great nation, and then I'm gonna fuck you up.
We're gonna go over to where the French are, and wherever the French were during this time period. I'm gonna fuck them up. Fuck them up.
Here we go. His farewell address. The unity of government which constitutes you one people is also now dear to you. It is justly so, for it's a main pillar in the edifice of your real independence. And if it isn't, you're gonna get fucked up.
Did George Washington not have any good quotes?
I'm not seeing anything. I hold the maxim no less applicable to the public than to private affairs, that honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy. That's the best George Washington quote we have.
Honesty
the first sentence, intelligible. Can't understand a single word they're saying with
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
We got time for one more scruple. What you got?
They're all kind of the same.
Kind of bad scruples.
They're all like, did we already do all these?
I think we've done all the ones in this pile. Right? Oh, no. Here we go. Oh, shit.
Okay.
You work at a bank. Another employee is blamed for your error involving thousands of dollars. It cannot be traced. Do you own up?
Do you like this other employee?
That is all that. If they've betrayed you in the past, you can throw this person under the bus. My actual corporate policy with this,
yes.
And I used to give a presentation to the interns every summer where I would give them a couple of things about what it's really like to work in an office.
Yeah.
One of the first things I would say is it is okay to make mistakes. You are going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. You have to own it immediately. It is not a problem until you try to cover it up, at which point it becomes a massive problem. The more you try to act like this mistake didn't happen, the worse it's going to be. So it is completely okay to fuck up, but you have to admit it immediately and ask for help.
I 100% agree. I do that all the time. If I make a mistake, also, you know what I do?
Fire it off.
You know what I do? I make a mistake. I immediately figure out how to solve it, come up with the best strategy to solve it. And at the time that they are finding out I made a mistake, they are finding out every possible solution to the mistake.
That's the thing.
And it's like, at that point, you can't get mad, because it's like, or it's harder to get mad because it's like we've already moved on.
Yeah.
Now I'm letting you know about this thing that I'm going to fix.
That's the higher level thing. That's
Yes.
like, like onto the manager level where it's like, now we're sending emails to people being like, I want to make you aware of this thing that happened earlier. Here's what happened. Here's the resolution. Here's the expected outcome or any other steps that are needed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Boom, you're done. Like all you're doing is telling someone it's all good just in case they hear about it later. But oh my God, I remember being like early in my career and like messing up and having the knee jerk reaction of like, do I tell someone? And any of the times when I was like 21 and I didn't, oh, it blew up so bad.
It's such an immature way to think.
Yeah. Can I get away with this?
But there's also company cultures that do that where they're like, whose fault is this? And as soon as someone's like, who messed this up? I'm like, I don't give a shit. I can't explain how many times I don't give a shit. It's like, what went wrong? How do we fix it? How do we dummy proof this?
Yeah.
And like, there was something at work with like, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about my job too much. I don't want to hit too close to home. But like this happened at other jobs where like, you're in the office or wherever you're working and you have like an awkward and you like don't like someone you're working with and you're like, this person's a jerk. This person's an ass. Why are they such a jerk to me? Why are they always so mean to me? And then you go to like a company happy hour or something and you find out that everyone else is like, yeah, what's up with what's her face? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm not insane.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. Everybody hates this person.
Yeah.
Because there's so many moments where I'm just like, am I alone here? Am I the only person that sees this? And then it's like, oh no, it turns out that everybody knows this thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I was thinking of that with like the mistakes too, where it's like, I don't know. People know. I feels like everybody kind of knows who's making all the mistakes. If it's a pattern, is this somebody who can't be trusted with stuff? I think people end up knowing more than, they let on.
Yeah.
But also that in mind, maybe they're just using it as an excuse. If you confess right away in that situation, maybe you're okay.
Yeah.
Probably you're okay if you confess immediately and you're like, this is what happened. Here's how we fixed it. But maybe it's an excuse or maybe even an opportunity for management to get rid of that one person that everybody hates.
That could be a thing.
Yeah.
Let's say that it's that. Let's say that everybody already hated this person. They were there because of nepotism. Like everyone's rallied around this person.
Oh,
and
the coach's kid?
Yeah,
the coach's kid. I'd be like, yeah, no, that was definitely him. And that's fine. And we'll just see what happens. Let the chips fall. He's probably going to be fine.
Worst case scenario, it's one Jenga block pulled out of the tower.
Exactly.
And it's just going to make things easier later.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Question of Scruples.
That's Scruples for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Do you agree with our choices? Let us know. Send us an email, nerdy430@gmail.com. We'll talk it out on the next time we do one of these.
Yeah.
We'll be back here again next week, maybe with Flubber. We'll talk about it. We'll find out. We'll see you then. Till then, stay nerdy, everybody.
Stay nerdy. Bye. Bye.